Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Quantum Energy Group session. I'm Jocelyn, and one of the methods that I'll be using in this group session will be a Millennium method. If you see me doing things with my hands, I'll be doing some downloads, pulling up whatever the fractals are that we need to shift today, and then downloading them through your C1 vertebrae, any acupuncture point or pressure point in your body, to pointing it, collapsing your body's wave function, and shifting it instantly. So let's get started so we can get as much as we can do in this next 15 minutes. And I'm just gonna see what we all need for today and this whole week. So welcome. Hi guys. Okay. So what's interesting is we have two immune systems coming up here. So some of us might be a little bit run down. I know the weather's been kind of crazy, and also astrologically there's a lot going on. So this is going to help us to boost our immune systems, bring down inflammation. When we have two of the same fractals, that just means that we need it a little bit more. So let's get everybody back on track. Some of our GI function as well. I know last week we did get digestive system, and GI function is a little bit similar to that, digesting information. And then we get suppression twice from two different levels. So all the areas in our life that we are suppressed or feeling suppressed by others or even by ourselves. Where are we suppressing ourselves? We need to remove that, tapping into our intuition, psychic abilities, helping us to be strong to failure, success, and to be neutral, because there's no such thing as failure or success. It's just a perception, because some people can perceive failure as success, because if you're brave or vulnerable enough to try and fail, that's successful, because through that success you grow, or through that failure you grow, because there's no such thing as failure, only feedback. Then we have helping to really to break free from all of that, break free from that suppression, to find the areas that we're bleeding our energy out and giving more than we have, bringing that all back into us to give us the energy that we need, taking all our energy back. Our energy is ours, so that we can end this old cycle, beginning this new cycle, and really being, I guess, aware of who we share information with, having this little bubble that we can stay in so that we can grow what we need to, and grow it as powerfully as possible. Because when we share with too many people, oftentimes we are easily influenced. And imagine as you're stepping out into this new energy, and whatever goal you're working on, you're stepping out, you're still kind of like a deer with wobbly knees. And if you go around someone and their storm kind of influences you with their wind, it's easier for you to fall down. So while you're building whatever this goal is that you're building, or even what you're working on right now, be very aware of who you share it with, who you're around, until you're in this really strong point that you can be around anyone and anything without it kind of taking you off course. Then we have removing the impulse, so that we're not acting out of impulse. It's important to make decisions quick, but not impulsive, not from our automatic thoughts. So this is going to help pull us out of that, and then really connect us with the people that we need to be connected with, and then again, pull us away from the people that are going to be holding us back. So let's see what's coming up from the first. Again, to just really keep us in that bubble and find our people that are going to rise us up, that are going to help take our goals to the next level, versus not intentionally. They don't do it intentionally, but their fears get projected onto us, or their perceptions get projected onto us. So just being aware of who we kind of need to distance from just while we're building. So we have, yes, so it's very important to do that, because the first fractal we get is we're not the sum of other people's opinions. So even though the people around us mean well, they're always seeing us from their own point of view. So imagine even your mom thinks they know you, right? And so they think they know what's best for you, but really they don't know you like deep down inside. They don't know your true core, because sometimes we don't even know ourselves. So when we ask people for advice, they're giving us advice from their perception and they don't know our true self, higher self. So really keeping in that privacy bubble of who we let in during this growth period so that their opinions don't affect us, because we can do so much more if we don't have to also deal with the noise and other people's opinions and what they think, whether this is good or bad. Sometimes they make us like have that doubt. So let's remove all the unnecessary stuff. Help us to see the other side of something, balancing our emotions, helping us to get into the creative solutions, and then with those creative solutions start snowballing the effect even more, and the success even more powerfully. So we're going to do the first download. So everybody take a deep breath. And then we're going to do that again one more time. Okay, so we're going to see if that's clear and if we can move to the next level. Yes, it's a lot clearer. The one thing that we do have to keep in mind is compromise. Where can we compromise and where are we compromising too much and it's taking us off our goal? So that's why, because we also got it with goal, dream, goals, rebirth, reinvention, which we also got beginnings and endings fractal from another level. So in order to really stay on focus and really keep on track, we have to have that goal, that C goal, that goal that scares us a little bit, that we don't know how to achieve. Focus on that every single day so that we can keep those clear boundaries, because then we'll know where we can compromise and where we can't, so that we don't keep compromising, falling off track, and then having to get back on track. This will keep us laser focused in our rebirth and reinvention so that we can get there a lot faster. So everybody take a deep breath. And one more time. Good, so let's move to the next one and see how we can balance impulsive behavior. So we have to really work on our effectiveness and honor our integrity and our word with ourselves. So what we say we're going to do today based on our goal and our intention. So every morning get up, focus on that goal, and then be laser focused on what you need to do that day. This is going to help us. These downloads are going to help us to be more effective, as well as give us the motivation to stay on track, so we don't have to keep cleaning up all the fallout that comes from the distractions or comes from where we compromise too much or other people's opinions or whatever that is. So take a deep breath. And then again. So because we're pulling for impulse, it's really important to keep track of that goal every single day with that intention, so that we don't act out of impulse and then regret it later. So we just, when we set the goal with the intention in mind, and it's very clear from the get-go, we can stay on course a lot easier. Wow, that one shifted pretty fast. So giving us that clarity, removing all the extra noise, accessing our own knowledge, and then honoring that knowledge. So honoring it so much, going inwards, honoring it so much that it doesn't matter what other people think. And you can really just put that knowledge out there without fear of repercussions, without fear of judgment, without fear of anything else. Not from an impulsive state, but from honoring yourself, honoring your knowledge, and staying true to your purpose and your destiny. So when you have a clear idea of what this next chapter looks like for you, what that goal is, you'll be able to get that clarity and knowledge clearer through these downloads, and also through the more that you do that every single morning, wake up with that intention and literally write it out, tune into it, step into that goal, feel what it feels, see what you see, smell what you smell, so that you can open your eyes and step into it throughout that day. So take a deep breath. And then again. Good. So now let's work on our privacy. So the more that we have clear boundaries on where is a good place to share and where isn't, the more productive and effective we can be, like I said, so we don't have to clean up all of the unnecessary mess. So what comes up through that is removing any expectation. So if we share with people, we are more open to these things: expectations, dysfunctional relationships, gaslighting, stress. So the less that we share as we're building, like, make sure that you share it with people that are going to elevate it and not distract you or not take you down. So we're going to remove all of the gaslighting, the expectations, stress, dysfunctional relationships, and just enhance that unconditional love for yourself as well as for them. Because like I said, people don't mean it. They look at it through their perception. So they give you advice through that. And so what's going to happen is their fears and their doubts and their judgments, and their soul is going to communicate to them what that means for them to you, not what your soul needs for that. So that's where the journaling comes in. It's so important to journal because journaling accesses your higher self. So when you are confused, journal first before you ask people. And again, really be aware of who you're letting into your inner, I guess, goals and what shifts you're going through. So everybody take a deep breath. And one more time. And the thing is, this doesn't mean that it's going to be forever. It's just going to be for the time that you need to build what you need until you feel stable enough to start letting more people in. And it doesn't mean that you're going to let them in fully. You'll test the waters here and there, but just make sure that you're fully strong before you do that, so you don't have to keep cleaning up the fallout that comes from certain interactions. Then again, all the expectations, the disappointments, so we have to really detach from all of those people and things, and also ourselves as well. Removing because expectations create limitations, which create the opposite result. We don't ever want to have expectations of ourselves, others, or our goals. We want to have curiosity, because when you're curious, everything is infinite. So you want to come from a place of curiosity at all times. That removes the disappointment as well, because expectations, when it doesn't work out, cause disappointment, or you manifest it and then you're disappointed. So let's remove all of that and just come from this playful, childlike wonder. Take a deep breath. Then again. Okay, let's do that again. Now we have judgment again. So that really is how much people's opinions, whether we want it to or not, affect us somehow, whether it's planting that little seed of doubt in our head, or they say something, or just our fear of judgment in period. So judgment, people's opinions came up 2 times today. So let's really move that. The way that we can override that and be around anyone at any point is filling up our battery, filling up our self-love, filling up our self validation, so that we don't need it from others, so that if they do project it onto us, we know that it's their stuff and it's not ours. Even though we know that, sometimes when we're not fully charged and we go around them, it does affect us. And so that's the part that we really have to fill up our battery first before we go around certain people. So, and then also just blending everything easily. Take a deep breath. And take a deep breath again. So we're going to do this one again. So again, just removing the stress, removing all the unnecessary noise. Again, we have unconditional love and nurture. So this week, it's very important for us to focus on that self-love, that self-validation, self-care. Again, journaling is so important in this, because the more that you can fill up your battery yourself, the more that you don't need to look for it outside. You don't even need to tell someone something amazing that you did sometimes, because you've already done it enough for yourself. And then when you do that, you're not opening yourself up to unsolicited advice that might not be beneficial to you. So take a deep breath. And take a deep breath again. Great. So we have time for one more. Oh, that's the other thing that comes up. So we want to have pressure, but not in the sense of external pressure. Like, we want to have that pressure from within us to push us every day, that gets us out of bed at 5 a.m. So what that goal is, it's like self-motivation from within. What that goal is every day that gets us to do the things that we don't want to do. Because I don't want to wake up at 5 a.m. Actually, I do, because it's really nice. But when I'm in bed, it's hard to get out. So what gets me out? My goal gets me out. What makes me not compromise myself through the day, I ask, is if it's in alignment with my goal or not. So if you have that clear vision, you can stay focused. But now we have a different type of pressure, which comes with that privacy, is you want to have internal motivation and ambition, but you don't want to have pressure from the outside, because then that pressure, like who you share your things with, they don't mean it, but that pressure does come and it does influence. So why have that unnecessary pressure that you have to deal with when you already have so much to deal with internally? So just be very clear on where you put your energy. That's why we got your energy is yours, like pulling our energy back into ourselves. Because especially if you're working on a really big goal, you need a strong battery. Like right now, the goal that I'm working on is so strong. I have to be laser focused, and it's very easy for me to get distracted if you haven't seen my post 2 days ago. So I have to keep really focused on it, and you have to keep yourself in that bubble and be around people that are going to support that, be around people that are going to lift that up and take you into those higher vibrations, and not take you down, not intentionally, but then have to work your vibrations back up. So be very clear and mindful about that, and build a foundation around that. So take a deep breath. I want to do that one more time because it's still not clear, and if you don't mind, I'm going over a little bit. So this is definitely a big one, The judgment is such a big one. Like if you could wake up tomorrow and do whatever you wanted to do without thinking about anyone or anything, not obviously in a selfish way, but in a way that it doesn't matter whether they judge you, whether they perceived you to fail or they didn't like what you had to say, as long as you're with integrity to yourself. Imagine all the things that you could do or accomplish, or even just the pure peace and joy that you would have. So removing all of that, removing the unnecessary obligations in your life so that you can be a lot more effective and productive. Take a deep breath. Okay, a lot better, but still issues around boundaries, then emotional blackmail that comes from people or things that we set boundaries with, but then also resentment that comes if we don't hold healthy boundaries. Resentment only comes when we do something that isn't with integrity with ourselves or with our goal. If we've been pressured into something that we didn't want to because we couldn't hold enough boundaries, that's the only time, or if we aren't in integrity with our word, that's the only time that resentment comes up, if we're being pushed or pressured into something that we don't want to do, or we don't speak our truth with them because we're afraid of judgment. So there's no point to go through life with this unnecessary resentment and the emotional blackmail. You'll do what they want, but you're going to do it with resentment. So then what's the point? Because then it's going to ruin your relationship and you're not going to want to be around them, or you're going to have a bad time doing it, lowering both of your vibrations. So it's much better to step back and nurture yourself and honor yourself and your goals and your boundaries, and then have a healthier relationship with them as well. So take a deep breath. Yeah, so the boundaries and gaslighting come up, and also be very aware when we're gaslighting ourselves as well. We do it all the time. And we do it so much that we talk ourselves into having those unhealthy boundaries, because we're like, oh, but it wasn't that bad, or they didn't mean it, I'm making too big of a deal of it, whatever that is. And so because it's hard for us to hold those boundaries, so our mind goes to these places to help us to keep those unhealthy boundaries, because we're afraid of rejection, we're afraid of abandonment, we're afraid of hurting someone. So it's easier to go with that, because in our brain we register abandonment and rejection as death, because back in tribal days, if you were abandoned or rejected from your tribe, you would die. Now it's completely different. So we can really choose who we want in our tribe and make sure that it's people that are healthy, that are rising our vibrations up. And we can still, like I said, be around people that aren't, but just maybe not as much as when you're building. So take a deep breath. And then, sorry, I'm going way over, but I feel like I really need to do this today because it's kind of stuck on this level, and it's something that's also been coming up for me this week. So we have, again, expectations, removing all those expectations that create limitations, which create the opposite, but also expectations that come from the relationships, codependent relationships, and codependent societal things. So let's just dump all of that out, take our energy back from all these places that our mind wanders, from these people that our mind is going to, even just thinking about it, our energy is going there. So taking it back, fueling ourselves, because when we do that, we can really help the people around us so much more than being a burnt out, disappointed, resentful person because we don't hold our boundaries. So take a deep breath. Good. now it's clear. So helping us to feel safe and secure and supported in this new dynamic, in this new type of relationship. Because remember, we developed all of these patterns and behaviors as defense mechanisms, as protecting ourselves so that we don't get hurt again. So as we release them, sometimes our body is scared to release them because they are our defense mechanism. So this is going to help us to feel safe and secure and supported to do that today and this whole week. So be very aware of who you come across, and practice these skills. Practice focusing on that goal and tuning into your energy and saying, is this person going to lift me up? Am I strong enough to be around this person right now? Or do I need to either be by myself or find my person that I can work with that's going to lift me up, versus having to meet with someone, have the vibrations not intentionally go down, and then have all the fallout that comes from that, pulling yourself back up again, because we spend so much time doing that instead of just continuously move forward. So play with it this week and see who you come across. Take a deep breath. And then again. Yay! So like I said, play with it this week without expectations, just from a place of curiosity, and see how different your week will end up when you are very mindful of who you're around and whose energy you're around and what you're watching on TV, how it's influencing you. Be laser focused, wake up every day, write your goal down, step into your goal, feel it, and then spend your day acting out actions based on who that person needs to be or who that person is to manifest that goal or whatever you're working on right now. So have an amazing week, and I will see you all next week. Thank you. Bye.